I'm just stunned at how ass we are for the Atlanta Falcons. How do you have all that talent? Well, one of the receivers was hurt, but how do you have all that talent on defense and offense, yet you still lose to the Jets? This is 100% on coaching, and this will also be 100% on an owner if he doesn't fire somebody. I mean, come on, this was absolutely ridiculous. Arthur Blank is just living in the American dollar, and he's not doing a damn thing to help this team. If you thought the Dolphins had a horrible owner, you haven't seen ours. I'm beginning to worry that more and more Mike Smith and Dan Quinn were not the problems. Speaking of Dan Quinn, what a hell of a game that was last night. That definitely helped cushion the blow, even if it was by just a little bit. But anyways, let's history to it. Welcome back to Grizzly Talks Football. I am the Grizz, as always. And ladies and gentlemen, we got Rivalry Week Saturday reactions. We're also going to take a look at the conference championships. No 8 people this time. I mean, who gives a shit about that? But anyways, if you enjoyed this series, make sure you give this a big thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button down there, somewhere down there, and the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. Helps the channel a lot. Without further delay, let's get straight to it. I know this wasn't a rivalry, I just wanted to get through this quickly. BYU dominates UCF in the next 3 quarters other than the first, 41-21. Outscored UCF 41-7 in the next 3 quarters after being outscored 14-0 in the first. It was a good start for David Jackson in the offense in the first quarter, but then once the second quarter hit, they just, forgot how to play football, I guess. The rushing game surely didn't help. David Jackson threw 2 touchdowns in the first quarter and then also had a receiving touchdown, which was interesting. And the 2 touchdown passes went to Agamenade and Dylan Wade. I hope I said the first guy's name right. 4-sack game, including 2 from Keelan Lawson, but once that second quarter hit, it was just GG's for this defense. They got ripped apart. Courtesy of L.J. Martin. Bear Botmeyer had a surgical game, 289 yards and touchdown, but L.J. Martin, 3 touchdowns, almost 100 yards. That 1 touchdown, mind you, went to Parker Kingston. Bishop did not too bad without Chase Roberts. 2-sack game for Jack Kelly, also forced a fumble. Evan Johnson also picked the pass off, so wow. That was a pretty good defensive game after that horrible first quarter. One thing I will say that needs to get better, 1, we need to get to a fast start, and 2, Will Ferrin needs to make his kicks. 2 of 4, that won't fly against Texas Tech next week. 11-1 and headed to the Big 12 championship game, more than likely going to be number 11. Pretty good. Up next, in the 122nd edition of The Game, the Ohio State Buckeyes finally get a win over Michigan for the first time since 2019 by dominating Michigan in the Big House 27-9. Looked like the first quarter it was going to be the same shit as the previous 4 years, but Ohio State turned that on its head once the second quarter happened, and they didn't allow a single point in that second half. They couldn't even get a touchdown. Great game for Julian Sayin, 19-26, 233 yards, 3 touchdowns, and interception. Bo Jackson, not to be confused with the Bo Jackson from like 40 years ago, 22 carries, 117 yards. And those 3 touchdowns went to Cardinal Tate, Jeremiah Smith, and Brandon Ennis. Second half defense was incredible, allowing 0 points, a sack for Kenyatta Jackson, and a pick for Davison Igbinosun. Definitely butchered that one. Just a great improvement defensively in the second half, but overall it was a great defensive game, holding them to 0 touchdowns. Run game was okay, but the passing game, it was just miserable. 8 of 18 for 63 yards, no touchdowns and interception for Bryce Underwood, probably his worst one of the season. Jair Hill got a pick, but then once that second quarter hit, it was just game over for the Michigan defense. Shout out Dominic Zavada for having every single one of Michigan's points. Good win, Ohio State. See you in the Big Ten Championship where you're playing Indiana. 1 versus 2. I am ready for it. No, but seriously, why the hell is 1 versus 2 not getting game day? Like, come on. In another shocking outcome, Miami dominated Pitt in Pittsburgh 38-7. Helping their chances, but just a little bit there, but yeah, I don't think so. Bama's not losing to Georgia. So safe to say, BYU and Miami, we're probably out of the playoff. I gotta still believe, though. I still gotta believe Georgia can do it. Big game for Carson Beck, 267 yards, 3 touchdowns and interception, and Malachi Toney even threw a touchdown. Mark Fletcher, even though he didn't complete that pass that he threw, he did get a rushing touchdown. But then he got outproduced by Gerard Pringle. Receiving touchdowns, of course, went to Malachi Tony with 13 catches for 126 yards. He had 2 total touchdowns in this game. C.J. Daniels, Charmar Brown, and Elijah Lofton. Keelan Marion, 2 catches for 13 yards. You could have done a lot more if you had just stayed at BYU. 4-sack game for the defense, 1.5 from Ruben Bain, 1.5 from Ahmad Moten, and an interception in Safford Fitzgerald. Just a rough game for Pitt's offense, man. Rushing game didn't get going at all. Passing game definitely got shut down. Almost under 200 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Mason Honcho, man, his run is done. And it was Justin Holmes who got the touchdown. Other than the interception by Cruz Brookins, nothing much to say about the defense. And Miami still couldn't make the ACC title game. You're going to see what that is in just a little bit. So their draft for conference title is now at 22 years now? In the Battle of the Palmetto, Clemson beat South Carolina 28-14 to finish the year 7-5. Not the best game from Kenny Klubner, 268 yards, no touchdown pass and interception, but did get a rush touchdown along with Adam Randall, who's been actually a pretty solid back for Clemson. The highlight of the game, of course, was the defense. 3 sacks for T.J. Parker, 1.5 for Will Helt, and 2 picks for Ricardo Jones. Defense dominated this game. Pretty easy to say that when you see that 3 of the 4 quarters, they held South Carolina to 0 points. Laura Sellers, on the other hand, was a mixed bag. 23 of 42, under 400 yards, 2 touchdowns to 2 picks. 200-yard receivers in Vandrevius Jacobs and Nick Harper combined for 13 catches, over 250 yards, and both of the touchdowns. Somehow the run game did not show up. Jalen Kilgore got an interception, but not much else to say. Enjoy yourselves, Clemson. This is your worst season since 2010. Relive this. Because unless Daboll starts playing like Texas Tech, he ain't winning nothing else. In the battle of the SEC teams in Tennessee, Vanderbilt came out on top after a strong second half after being even in the first half. 45-24, outscoring Tennessee 24-3 in that said second half. Vanderbilt's defense showed up, and so did the offense when the third quarter started. Rough game throwing the ball for Pavia, 268 yards, but 1 touchdown to 2 picks. He did get a rushing touchdown, and Cedric Alexander was the king of this game. 11 yards carry on 10 carries for 115 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Run game dominated as there were 5 rushing touchdowns in this one, and over 300 yards. And Trey Richardson was the only receiving touchdown. It was competitive in the first half, but once that second half hit, it was just all Vanderbilt, including their defense, getting a total of 4 sacks. It was a strong start for Tennessee. Joey Aguilar was dotting it up, 300 yards and a touchdown, 2 touchdowns for Deshaun Bishop, but they just really couldn't keep up. Chris Brazzell once again showed why he is a future NFL star, 6 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. First 10-win season in program history, Vanderbilt is on the outside looking in at the playoff. They could be in for a Citrus Bowl or maybe even a Capital One Bowl. Who knows? I meant Gator Bowl. Next up, we had Oregon traveling to Washington and beating them 26-14. This, I think, was on upset watch, but the Ducks were like, we're going to this playoff no matter what. And they are going to because they are not in the Big 12 or the Big 10 championship. Impressive game for Dante Moore on 300 total yards and 2 total touchdowns, and he was surgical through the air. The 1 touchdown pass went to Malik Benson with 5 catches for 102 yards. Defense showed up in a big way with 4 sacks and 2 picks. Jaden Kennedy and Dylan Thieneman getting interceptions. Atticus Sappington had to get the works because he had to make 4 field goals for them to have a 12-point lead. What a difference that was. For Washington, the run game was pretty solid. Adam Muhammad had 100 yards, but Damon Williams was a bit mixed bag in the passing game as well. 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 50% completion percentage. And both touchdowns went to Denzel Boston. 2-sack game for Washington, but unfortunately, they just couldn't do enough. Offensively, they definitely should have done a lot better if they wanted to beat this Oregon team. 3 Big 10 teams in the top 10. Wow, you are almost up there with the SEC right now. Hey, Ohio State, how about to do us all a favor and win the national championship again? Stick it to the SEC. This one isn't a rivalry, but this was a little interesting because in an ugly game, Oklahoma beat LSU 17-13. That's a little interesting. Offensively, LSU was awful. Under 100 yards for Michael Van Buren, a touchdown and a pick. Rushing game didn't necessarily help that much. Sabian Thomas got a touchdown, but still. The reason why they were in this game was because of 3 interceptions, one of which was returned for a touchdown. Nah, I'm just kidding. Nope. None of them were returned for touchdowns. It was just a touchdown, 2 field goals, a passing touchdown, should I say. Besides the interceptions, Retier was not that bad, but then what in the world happened to him? 2 touchdowns to 3 picks. He did get Isaiah Satenda to 9 catches, 121 yards, and a touchdown. And Deion Burks also had a touchdown, but I don't know what happened to him. Peyton Bowen with the only interception for the defense, but pretty much it was the better offense won. Now LSU is about to have Lane Kiffin next year. Assholes. Keep in mind, they still are in an active buyout right now for Brian Kelly's whole nonsense. Oh wait, they won a court case. Big freaking deal. Want to get through 2 games, first one of which is the Iron Bowl. Alabama surviving Auburn 27-20. Came down to a game-losing fumble by Auburn, and yes, there were some red ball involved. Ty Simpson did get 3 touchdowns, but overall he really couldn't move the ball. He had to depend on Jam Miller and Daniel Hill to carry the load, even though Jam Miller went down with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing too serious heading into the SEC Championship. Oh yeah, and all 3 of those passing touchdowns, they went to Isaiah Horton. Interception and a sack, also a couple of forced fumbles by Bama's defense, ended up securing them the win. Oh sorry, it was just 1. And Auburn tried their damnedest to get their upset. Esther Daniels combined 360 yards, touchdown and interception. Jermaine Cobb had a rushing touchdown. And the 1 touchdown pass, of course, went to Malcolm Simmons, 3 catches for 143 and a score. 3-sack game, including 2 for Xavier Atkins. No, they didn't force a turnover, but they did get some key stops that allowed them to get back in the game. Fortunately, it was just not enough. They were just unable to get back into the game once Alabama scored the last second touchdown on 4th and goal. Well, at least you tried, Auburn. Wanted to take a look at one more instant classic. SMU getting upset by Cal, losing their chance in the ACC championship game 38-35. Dang, what a turnaround for the Golden Bears. Kevin Jennings had a solid game, 273 yards, 3 total touchdowns, did throw a pick. Rushing game scored 3 times. 2 passing touchdowns went to Matthew Hibner and Jordan Hudson. But this SMU defense could not stop JKS for anything. 4 touchdowns to 30 yards, and he was very surgical. And also Kendrick Raphael had 111 rushing yards to the touchdown. 4 different receivers caught touchdowns for Cal. Came down to a wild 4th quarter there. The score was 14-24 heading into the 4th quarter, and SMU almost came back and won. As if only their defense didn't suck. That is the end of Rivalry Week, and we move on to Conference Championship Week. We got all the conference championships over here. Obviously, ACC, Big 12, Big 10, and SEC at the Power 4, and of the Group of 5, American, Conference USA, MAC, Mountain West, and Sun Belt. For ACC, Duke against Virginia, I got Virginia dominated again. Probably won't happen, but it would be funny if Duke would have won this game and sent 2 Group of 5 champions to the playoff. More specifically, the American and Sun Belt. Next up is the American with North Texas and Tulane. I gotta go with the Mean Green, gotta keep it rolling. It could be first conference championship since the Sun Belt days. BYU versus Texas Tech at the Big 12 championship. Texas Tech is definitely really, really good, so I think they win, but this time in a close one. But you know what they say, it's hard to beat the same team twice. Alabama. Indiana, Ohio State in the Big 10 championship. I got the Buckeyes. Indiana has not won against Ohio State since 1988, and I think it's going to continue that way. As much as I hate that. Conference USA Championship, 2nd-year team, Kennesaw State going against Jacksonville State again. I think Kennesaw State wins this time. Yeah, 2nd-year Owls are going to be conference champions. Crazy. At least I think they will. Miami of Ohio, Western Michigan. I think I picked against Miami of Ohio last year and they won. So I think I'm going to go with them this year. I don't know where Western Michigan come from, but maybe they're good, maybe they're not. I guess we'll never know. UNLV Boise State in a Mountain West championship game. This one is complete bullshit. I think Boise State's winning again. New Mexico or San Diego State should have been there. Boise State beat New Mexico, but San Diego State beat Boise. And then, of course, San Diego State lost to New Mexico. You really had like a 9-3 and a 9-3, but you chose an 8-4. Then in the Sun Belt, you got Troy, James Madison. Obviously, the Dukes are going to blow out Troy, respectfully. Fortunately, JMU is probably going to go to the playoff. Finally, Georgia, Alabama. Bama wins again. Kirby Smart, Alabama owns you. And DeBauer might be 3-0 against Georgia? What the hell? And those are my conference championship picks for next week. Good luck to every team in there. that'll do it for this episode of Christy Talks Football. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure you get this a big damn thumbs up. Hit the red subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a single one of my videos. This is the Grizzly sign off for now, and until next time, I'll see you guys later. Peace, love, keep the Grizzly vibes with you at all times. Take care.